quick kick away finds Hart. Hart up towards half forward. McGregor getting in front. Fletcher looks for the hand pass. Effective. Back to Lambert. That certainly wasn't what they wanted. McCarthy's clearing kick. Chapman up one-handed. Fitzroy with the numbers. Opportunity for Morton. Gives it back to Hogg. Off one step. Long bomb in towards full forward. And out of bounds on the full or a behind. What on the goal umpire? It's a behind. So the third straight behind to Fitzroy.
The handball came out to a stationary player there, and Hogg was just left with one option. That was to stand and deliver.
Chapman kicks in. Difference is 9 points. Man on his own out there is Hart.
And Hart on half-back goes short, and he'll find Darryl White. He's a marvellous player. Chips it into Lambert, has come all the way down from the half-back flank. Already building up the possessions. The kick is a centering kick out towards Merrett. Looked like he was held, not paid. Fletcher, Atkins is in there, Burrows in once more, and he's got the free kick. So he kicks it out wide. He's looking for Paxman. It held up. Been marked by Lappin. Feeds the ball off quickly to Clark. He's got all the time in the world. Primus does well. Ashcroft for the Bears, deep in the forward line. Leppich was the high flyer. Now he kicks off the ground. It's bouncing through just for a minor score.
Just have a look at the half-forward line for Brisbane. You've got Voss being picked up by Dent. What a big challenge for him. Dion Scott, who's a real workhorse and getting better with every game, has John McCarthy and White and Pike on the other side of the ground.
So Stephen Paxman, one of the experienced Lions, plays at both ends of the ground. Kicks the ball looking for Primus. A star recruit for the Lions. Played 5 reserves game for Geelong. Coming through strongly is Wolf. Feeds the ball off here to Bamford. Gets it across to Atkins. Pike, you can see it's slippery conditions here at the Gabba. Back to Atkins. Kicks the ball inside 50. It's going to be hard to mark it at ground level. Morton, is he pushed in the back? Play on, says the umpire. Cummings grabs the ball as well with Champion. And we've got a ball up.
Well, handball's still a vital ingredient on a wet day, but Fitzroy just look as if they're tending to want to handball the ball at every opportunity, and with the slippery ball, they may lose it.
Boyd looks for a free kick. His tackle was actually a little bit high. Snapshot down there by Cummings. Kicked into the man straight ahead of him. Loose ball again. He fires out the hand pass, so a second opportunity. It's Morton who goes longer. Bears with the numbers, and a good mark is taken by Champion. On abuse. Still he goes around the boundary line. Ooh. McGregor 50 metres out. Let's see how the breeze goes with this. That's not a bad sort of a kick, and he's booted the Roy's first.
When you're looking for the best rural...
Brisbane 2-1-13, lead Fitzroy 1-3-9. Primus out of the centre square. Here come the Lions, and Barker playing in front. It was a poor kick. So luck's a fortune.
And here we go, Matthew Primus. We know he's mobile. He has got a slightly unusual kicking style, but if they keep finding the target, no one can complain.
So Barker from 45 metres out. Looks like he's drilled this one. So the Lions, with 2 quick goals, have hit back.
And that's the start that Fitzroy needed. They don't want to lose touch with Brisbane, particularly up here. And they are kicking with the aid of a bit of a breeze behind their backs. They have in the last 2 minutes drilled a couple of absolute beauties. There's Barker up against Nathan Chapman, a good player in his own right. If there was going to be an upset here today, these are the perfect conditions for it.
So 2 quick goals to the Roy's, and Fitzroy hit the front by 2 points. And after the Bears got the first 2, socket off the ground by Fletcher. Atkins probably could have left it for his teammate who went through. Lambert on the bottom. Now Lappin has it hard out on the boundary line with Matthew Dent right on his hammer. And it's out of bounds in front of the Bears Social Club here at the Gabba. We're around about halfway through the first quarter, and Fitzroy leading by 2 points. Primus and Clark. Clark wins it. Couldn't clear the congestion. Ball slipped out the front of the pack. Barker was there. Primus. grandson of the great late Reg Hickey. Now Bamford from Boyd. And the namesake of the guy sitting next to me, Bartlett, wearing Martin Leslie's old number, and I think pretty proud to be wearing it too. Lappin again. Lappin's kick, not a bad one against the breeze. Oh, great mark, taken down there by Pike. Terrific grab under these conditions. Under any conditions, really. So Martin Pike, just up from the back pocket, decides to run it out. McCarthy, Wharf, on a dry day, missed what he should have taken. Ashcroft might have been taken high, not according to the umpire. Pike, tackled late by Lepich, onto Paxman. All of a sudden finds he's got plenty of time, gives it over to Bamford, who's got plenty of pace, believe me. 52 metres out, long with the breeze, not a bad sort of a kick. Champion got a glove to it, and it goes through for one behind to Fitzroy. So the Roys increase their lead, and it's 2-1 Brisbane, and Fitzroy 2-4 midway through the first quarter.
And from that kick of Bamford, I think we can see that the breeze may be worth 3 or 4 goals. Voss comes away from the half-back line and finds Scott on the Norwich Rising Star. Gives it across to Fletcher, inside 50, looking for Merrett, and he's got it. .299th game today. He's been a marvellous competitor. 150 games for the Bears, 149 for the Bombers.
Fletcher already having a big impact on this game. That's outstanding disposal.
So Roger Merrett, 3 goals so far this season, 414 in his great career. He's right on 50, and he has drilled it.
Well, whoops. Just waited. Well, he drew a player, McGregor, who kicked Fitzroy's first goal. Buse down low takes the mark. Andy Buse, also in the veteran stage.
You can't pinpoint passes into the forward line when the ball's this heavy.
His 249th game, Andrew Buse. Hart takes the mark on left centre wing. 19 plays 16 in favour of the Bears in the first quarter at the Gabba. Bears' first day game of the year, probably taking a little bit of time to adjust to the conditions. Lambert takes the ball over the boundary line, almost in front of our commentary position.
Just a couple of midfield matchups. Lambert's now going with Ron Bottas, or in fact Ron Bottas with Lambert. And Chris Scott and Simon Atkins will be a good battle in the centre of the ground.
The players didn't know who had the free kick there. It's going to Clark. Apropos of comments made last week by Kevin Sheedy, some of the ruck infringements can be puzzling. Lambert just inside the boundary line with the mark, the former Tiger. McCarthy in front, couldn't complete the mark. Scott, Ashcroft kicks across the body of Atkins up towards full forward. Lepich a chance. Or have Paxman, bodies on the line there. Ron Bottas, now McCarthy almost in the back. Umpire lets it go. McGregor goes in solidly, and the ball out of bounds. It will be another throw in.
And they're the change of handballs I was referring to. They will probably break down more often than you would like under these conditions. And in fact, Fletcher is now going with Simon Atkins.
Rain has stopped. Atkins, quick kick up to the point of the square. Back it comes to Boyd from Bamford. A kick down towards half forward, marking contest. Chapman off the ground. Still he goes, Chapman. Buse onto Lappin, and Lappin with pace at centre wing.
Plenty of numbers for the Bears across half-back. Lappin kicks the ball long, Pike's in position. Couldn't take it under the greasy conditions at ground level. McCarthy does well. Gets the ball up there to Cook. We see the ball comes away to Johnson, to Bamford. They've got the numbers, Fitzroy. Great play out of defence by Johnson. Kicks the ball down towards Morton. Too far the carry. So chance now for Voss. Does well. Gets it back to Buse. A new lease of life for Andrew Buse. Can't trap it in the back pocket. McAdam can. Heads for the safety of the boundary line. The ball's still in. Picked up by Hogg. Screws the ball back around the corner. To Voss. To Bartlett. To Hart. So the Bears out of trouble once more. And Lambert has found some space on the wing. Goes over the top here to Lappin. He wants to draw an opponent. Scott says kick it long. He grubs it along the ground. Lepich, a great pickup. Screws it around for White. He needs a kind bounce. He'll kick a goal. Fantastic play.
Shoemaker's medal, Land. It's
White, who's now third on the Bears' all-time goal-kicking list behind Merrett and Hardy. It's 25 plays, 16 at the Gabba. Out of the congestion, Marcus Ashcroft kicked to half forward. White, another chance. Johnson spilled the mark. Dent, a high kick to centre wing, punched away by McAdam. Might be as far as it's going. Clark, Lappin, who's been busy, gets around Boyd. Onto his left foot, not a long kick with the rain teeming down again. Lepic, good punch on. Fitzroy with the numbers, Johnson. Kicked into the man right in front of him, and Fletcher comes up with the footy, not for very long. Ashcroft again. Voss. Merrett. Malloy. A quick kick. Only as far as Dent. Went for the boundary, did he? Merrett goes off the ground and hits the post. He's a long way to do that. It's 10 points the difference.
And there's Dion Scott just having a bit of a breather while Ackermanis has come onto the track, and isn't he an exciting machine?
And Tristan Lynch also on the interchange bench there for the Brisbane Bears. Cook started the game on the bench. He's also been brought into the ruck. Straight up the centre, big punch away that time by Clark at ground level. Leppage on 50, he's already drilled one. This time he's off target. The ball's over the line for a boundary throw-in. So Justin Leppage, a bouncy player, looks to have a tremendous future.
Yes, from the Southern Stingrays. The great thing about Leppage is that he's come back from a major knee reconstruction, an early one in his career, which set him back a little bit, but we saw last week what he's capable of.
So Cook just couldn't get his hands to the ball. Pike, he's been a good player so far for Fitzroy, but it lands in the arms of Bartlett. He's got a loose player in Voss. Just try to take on the half volley. Great pick up by Cummings. Heads back towards Barker. He's on centre half for the front edge of the square. Back to Hogg. Feeds the ball back off. Cummings once more pumps the ball back to the forward line. Danny Dick Voss in front. Very difficult to mark. It's greasy conditions here at the Gabba. Hughes does it well though. The experienced Hughes kicks the ball back out wide, but finds Bamford. Goes short. It's one of the problems with Fitzroy. Didn't hit its target, Boyd. This time he does, and he finds Hogg well within kicking distance. It's been pretty lively, Jeff Hogg, in this first term.
He's had a pretty good season, Jeff Hogg. He was written off by a lot of people at the end of last year, but he knuckled down and producing some good football for Fitzroy. You've got to say, if you're centre-half forward in a side that's battling, it's a pretty big ask.
Well, this is his sixth possession. 4 times Richmond's leading goal kicker. They wanted that one. It's off target.
2 behinds, kicked by Jeff Hogg. And that rain absolutely pelting down. 3 minutes left in the first quarter, 4-2 to 2-5. So 9 points, the advantage. Champion. Kicks to Clark. Tried to get it over the head of Cook. Ball scooped up to Cummings. Tried to give it to his skipper. They won't lose him any votes. Still Boyd goes, but it's Ashcroft. Out to Hart. Couldn't quite handle it. Dent. Kicks to centre wing, and I think that's out of bounds on the full. And it's going to be taken by Voss or Ackermanis. It's Voss. Not a bad kick against the breeze, close to the boundary line. White over the top of the pack. Sees the ball safely over the line. It's not cold here, but extremely wet. It's going to be Cook against Clark. Gee, that throw-in seemed to be taken almost by the wind. Bamford's high kick gets it back to the centre square. Punch away by Bartlett. Lambert couldn't quite handle it. Now a chance for Morton. Morton's kicked down towards left half forward. The 2 number 5s, Barker. This time in front of his opponent, Nathan Chapman. But again, the ball over the boundary line in front of the big scoreboard here at the Gabba ground, which shows Brisbane 4-2, leading Fitzroy 2-5. Throw in once again. It's going to be Clark against Hogg. Fletcher and Lambert combine. Lambert does the shepherding. Tells him to keep going, which he does. And he kicks up towards half forward, and he finds down there Chris Scott. Well, landed inside 50. Almost a free kick to Lepage there. Umpire lets it go. McCarthy grabbed, ball jarred free in the tackle. And the Fitzroy defender is able to tie it up. So in the closing stages of the first quarter, we've got under 2 minutes left. And it's going to be a ball up, 35 metres out from goal.
The Bears lead by 9 points. A free kick to Fitzroy, but already the terrific midfield of Voss, Ashcroft, Fletcher and Lambert starting to win a lot of the ball. They're great players, and they've got very good ones in Scott and Hart also around the ball. So Pike kicks the ball out wide. Clark, he'll get there first. He's been a great player, former player with the under-19s down at Tigerland before being picked up by the Bears. Atkins with a quick kick back towards the half-forward line at ground level. Ball was kicked off the ground by Hogg and just skids over the line for a boundary throw-in on 50.
And if you can hear the crackling at home, as we can in our headsets, it's not KB eating his salt and vinegar chips. It's in fact the heavy rain that we're having here at Brisbane. It is pelting down.
So Hogg in the ruck. Wins the tap down towards Atkins. He can feed the ball off to Boyd. He was caught.
Sure.
Got the ball away. Picked up by Champion playing in front. Great tackle by Malloy. Champion once more on hands and knees. Tries to just burrow the ball out.
Yeah, KB,
the free kick is going to the Bears.
KB, you do run the rules committee. Why would Champion, who had time to kick it there, not be pinged for a free kick with that tackle?
Well, if he's had prior opportunity to get rid of the ball by either hand or foot, he should be pinged.
He did look to have run 4 or 5 metres, so maybe it was a blind ball.
So Fletcher just doing a bit of dancing, kicks the ball back towards the wing.
McCarthy in front, couldn't complete the mark. Some great tackling here. Bamford this time caught with a footy. It's going to be a Bears free kick.
And that's where the inconsistency, because you would have thought Bamford had a split second to get rid of it there, and he got barrelled.
He got Darrelled.
Barrelled.
The rule's a good one if it's interpreted correctly.
Absolutely.
Darryl White has the free kick. Lambert, we mentioned him. He's had a great first quarter, but the siren goes to beat him. And at quarter time, the Bears with a useful lead, kicking against what appears to be a fairly strong breeze. Under these conditions, they seem to handle it pretty well. And Brisbane leading 4-2, Fitzroy 2-5. The Roy's 2 goals came in quick succession to John Barker and Anthony McGregor, the latter getting the first of them, and 4 individual goal kickers for the Brisbane Bears. Darryl White got 1, Roger Merrett got 1, Chris Scott got 1, and Marcus Ashcroft also kicked the 1 goal.
Good to see Bamford there running around, giving his players a bit of a cheer up, positive thoughts going through the Fitzroy camp. It's obviously not going to be a pretty game of football, but when the conditions are like this, KB, sometimes you get those classic close finishes.
Yes, well, it's bodies on the line, and anything can happen under these greasy conditions. So Brisbane 4-2-26, leading Fitzroy.
Darryl White, the goal kickers for the Bears, and for Fitzroy, it's John Barker and Anthony McGregor. And the other game being played today is out at Waverley between St Kilda and Footscray. Many stations taking a replay. If you don't wish to see the scores, look away. Well, it looks as though the rain has stopped out there. Dipper has it, but we might get some more.
Yes, it has stopped for the moment, Peter, but as you suggested then, we might get some more. The first thing the Bears players did was change their boots. A lot of the players did have their moulders on and gone to screw-ins, and a very spirited Fitzroy. Then Simon Atkins, who's been around for a little while now, really took charge of that huddle and said, we're in this game because we've got to work damn hard to win it.
Yeah, thanks, Dipper. Not a bad effort by Fitzroy. Had plenty of the ball.
Matthew and Brad Boyd just running over to the interchange bench. Perhaps he's got a bit of a grazed knee, and it's the blood rule. There it is. So we're going to wait for Brad Boyd to come back on, or for his replacement to come back on.
Well, they'd have to have a replacement. They couldn't wait for him.
Looks like Darren Holmes has come on.
Yep, ex-Sydney Swans player, and he'll go probably to the half-back line.
Might be a fair bit that Boyd would come back on fairly quickly as he gets treatment from the trainers down there.
Well, there is a fair wind blowing now to the Brisbane Bears end, so the Lions handballing game will probably assist them into the win.
4-2 to 2-5 as we start the second quarter at the Gabba. The 2 Matthews go at it. Oh, gee. Hart went in there pretty solidly. Didn't connect with the ball or anything else for that matter. McGregor, hot hand pass. He kicked the Roy's first goal. They want to get a couple more quickly on board. McAdam,
Caught that.
Gee, that was a very hefty bump on McGregor. He's still down. It's a little bit the worse for wear. He's now getting up. Merrett taken out of the contest down there. And it's Pike with the ball. Martin Pike kicks into the man on the mark. Opportunity down there for Akamatis. Back to Merrett. Greasy football. Sees McCarthy do the tidying up. That's close to out of bounds on the full. In fact, it is. And it will be a free kick to the Bears to be taken by Jason Akamatis. McGregor seems to be okay after that, well, hefty bump.
One of the best shepherds you've ever seen, that one. He wasn't ready for it, and he was off balance, and down went McGregor. But to his great credit, after a couple of seconds, he was back up.
Adrian Fletcher has the free kick, runner-up in the Bears' best and fairest last year. Off only a couple of steps. He kicks it goal. The crowd likes it, and the goal umpire says 4 points. It's the start that the Bears wanted in the second quarter. Adrian Fletcher kicking his first for the match, and it's 5-2 to 2-5. And Boyd very quickly back into the fray.
They're playing like a very good side now, Brisbane. They're handing out the bruises. They're also capping it off with some pretty good skills under inclement conditions.
Already 5 individual goal kickers for Brisbane. Matty Clark versus Primus. Clark's got an enormous leap. Fletcher paddles the ball along for Ashcroft. Quick kick inside 50. Big pack of players. There's Roger just testing his strength. And Craig Lambert, as per usual, climbing off the bottom of the pack. Merrett and Primus. Pike, he's been a good defender, goes straight to Clark. It's been smothered. So Boyd takes the ball, gives it across here to Rombotis. Wants to feed the ball off a shocking hand pass. Boyd does well for Fitzroy. Just might save him as he kicks the ball back towards the half-forward line. Chance here for Wharf. Make that Cummings.
Great tackle by McAdam, wasn't it?
So Gilbert McAdam just having a few words there to his teammate. You see Darren Holmes back on the interchange bench there after that brief run. Clark, front of the pack to Lappin. Gets support from Scott. Classy player Lappin, kid from Chilton that kicks a poor one, lands in the arms of McCarthy across half-back.
If you're doing your research on Nigel Lappin, every time he got the ball, you'd be anticipating the ball.
Let's see what happens here. He's in the front of the pack, couldn't quite handle it. This is Bamford, a South Australian who's already made quite a mark in his brief AFL career. McAdam breaks clear. Well, he almost broke clear. It's going to be a Bears free kick in the meantime. Just a little bit backward at that, to be taken by Andrew Buse. Runner-up in the Geelong best and fairest way back in '87. As I said, his 249th game. And speaking of figures, he's going to get a 50-metre penalty, which will bring him up round about to the centre wing position. Andrew Buse to put the Bears into attack. Kicks to half forward. Primus missed what he should have taken. His teammate Wharf gets the Roys out of trouble. Bounces it almost to midfield. Barker missed it. Still they come. Kick up towards McAdam. Now Buse off the Champion. Just gets around Malloy. Lappin again. Lappin short of centre wing. The balk once more, this time around Atkins. Akamatis, tackled well by Bamford, still gets his kick. Bears with the numbers. Pike to Primus. Matthew Primus having a good duel in the ruck with Matthew Clark. Breezy ball, making it very hard to mark. Fletcher almost taken high by Boyd. Umpire calls play on. Lambert, who's one of the Bears' best in the first quarter, turns on a threepenny bit, kicks to the athletic Darryl White, couldn't take it. Johnson went past without it. Now Voss, he breaks clear into an open goal, kicks it behind. Certainly should have drilled that, Michael Voss. His first score of the afternoon, a minor one, taking the Bears to 5-3. Fitzroy 2-5, 33-17, 16 minutes left in the quarter.
Paxman to bring the ball back into play. Fitzroy, as Jared said, they'll try and run the ball into the breeze. It's just a matter of whether their skills are going to be good enough not to turn the ball over. Rowan Wharf just making a bit of a lead as Paxman decides to just tumble the ball back, and it's been marked by McGregor. Feeds the ball off wide, doesn't hit a target, but Boyd can run onto the ball and screws it back to Primus, who's done very, very well. Gives it back to McGregor. He's under pressure. Back to Hogg. It's a quick kick once more into the forward line. The high flyer's Barker. And they just keep forcing the ball forward with plenty of mistakes, but as long as they're putting their bodies on the line, Jared, they'll get some results.
And particularly if you run in numbers. We saw Ron Bottas drop a ball when he was in two minds across half-back a couple of minutes ago, but because Brad Boyd was running with him, giving them some support, they really didn't lose much. And, well, we just saw a long bomb into the forward line, and in these conditions, often is as good as any.
Well, Barker's kicked one goal. Can he make it two? He likes it. So a good effort by young Barker. He's booted two.
Barker, the first multiple goal kicker of the match. He has two. Fitzroy 3-5, the Bears 5-3. So the difference back to 10 points at the Gabba. Lambert out of the congestion in the middle. Kicks up towards full forward. In numbers, the Bears. Merrett goes at goal. That's the quickest of possible replies by the veteran, and he puts it through. And Roger Merrett also 2 goals on the board, 6-3 to 3-5. Almost like a training drill, that, Jared, wasn't it?
Yeah, that one would have hurt. A quick get out of the middle of the ground. I think it was by Craig Lambert. And, always in front, Roger Merrett. He loves leading out. If he doesn't take the ball, sometimes he takes a player with him and creates some space for his other forwards. The Fitzroy coaching box there would have been stunned by that quick reply because they were working themselves back into the game.
Primus this time wins the tap. Lambert at ground level to McAdam. Got some wonderful midfield players, the Bears. Here's another one, Scott. Fletcher's there and Ashcroft, so they can raffle it. Back to Lambert, he's on 50. Hogg does well, he's former captain of Tigerland. Ashcroft, 45 metres out. It's kicked across the face of goals. Voss there trying to claim it, but it's been popped through by Darryl White. Just too easy that time.
There wasn't enough desperation in that one from Fitzroy. Too many numbers here, Brisbane. They are really working them over in the middle of the ground now. Ashcroft just popped the ball up at the top of the square. Voss off the chest, and White just dribbles on through in the right spot at the right time.
So 2 quick goals to the Bears, first of all by Roger Merrett and then by Darryl White, and all of a sudden it's a handy lead, 45 to 23. There's a whistle on play at midfield. It's going to be a free kick to be taken by Clark.
50,
Clark kicks up towards right half forward, another whistle.
50-metre penalty, I think.
That will bring him to inside 50. 22 points, the margin. And Brad Tweedy Boyd brought right back. Decent 50. Not a bad kick either, Matthew Clark. Let's see what he does with this. He's certainly given it a decent old roost. He's got the distance without too many problems, but registering only 1 behind. His first score of the day. It's 7-4 to 3-5. Paxman will again kick in. 14 minutes left in the term. He goes to the outer side. Always with the numbers. Boyd. Looking for and finding Matthew Primus. Onto Pike. Pike from left half forward. Spears the pass in towards Mellington, who couldn't take it. Atkins pushed off the footy. Now Barker for his third. 25 metres out, but he's missed. In fact, may have missed everything. Let's see what the goal umpire does. 1 behind, perhaps. Kicked by John Barker. 2 goals, 1 to him. 3-6 Fitzroy. And trailing Brisbane 7 goals, 4.
Darryl White's already booted 2 goals today. He has kicked 7 in the league game. That was against Richmond in round 20 last year as Lambert takes the mark. He's as tough as nails. Always keen to play on across to Voss. Voss, Ashcroft, Fletcher and Lambert already with 44 possessions in the game. This time Primus holds them up across half-back. Looks a fair prospect.
He does,
young Matthew Primus. First choice by the Lions in the national draft. Here's Boyd, won the best and fairest last year. Started his career at Collingwood. Here's Atkins. Kicks the ball down. Mellington was up, couldn't take it. Chance for Bamford. And the kid from North Adelaide has kicked it. Could be a free kick also to Barker. But they're paying the goal.
We don't pretend to know how the world will change next. But we do know we'll be there for you when it does. In times such as these, if you're not with SGIO, it's time you made a few changes of your own. You can't change the world, but thankfully you can change your insurance company to Western Australia's largest general insurer, SGIO, insurance for the world as it is today.
Difference back to 16 points. Fletcher tries to get it out. Couldn't do so. And it will be another ball up. 7-4 to 4-6. Merrett and White 2 each for the Bears. Barker 2 for Fitzroy. Very muddy conditions. The Bears' first day game of the year. On the shoulder, says the umpire. Ruck infringement going Fitzroy's way. Primus, as Kevin said, it's a very likely prospect. He's kicked a half forward. That's about as far as they're going this time, the Roys. Kick away towards centre wing. Dent dragged off it. And passed back to Lambert. Chris Scott gets taken high. And he's going to get a free kick.
Big Matthew Kennedy is on the ground on a wing. He's replaced Nigel Lappin a couple of minutes ago.
Scott plays on. Doesn't get too much distance with the kick. White underneath it. Atkins couldn't take it likewise. Paddled further forward by Johnson. Now Ron Bottas. Intercepting down there is Michael Voss. He goes at goal this time. Oh! It was an off break. It came back about 6 feet. And a goal. He'll take it. 8-4 to 4-6. Well, when you're hot, you're hot. Gee, I'd like to see that again. That's an amazing kick.
Your wish is our command, Pete. Here goes Michael Voss. He knows the goal square's empty, so he only has to slide it into the goal square and it will slip through. But the wind did a bit of work on that one, and he probably allowed for it. Just came back beautifully and he went straight through the high door.
Slip sliding away, an old Max Merrett hit. Fletcher. The bottom of the pack, Kennedy.
So
Quick
Roger's
slip.
dead.
We see Ashcroft. It's been a marvellous player for the Bears now for a number of years. Kicks down, and White at the back of the pack takes a chest mark. Got enormous talent. He's kicked 2 goals already.
And once again, you'll see Roger Merrett just charging through the centre of the ground, opening up the space behind him, and in pops Darryl White. And we often see that a successful move for Brisbane.
He takes a few steps, but he's popped it through for his 3rd goal. We heard Mickey Noonan speaking earlier about last week's game against St Kilda, how the midfield of Harvey and Burke creates so much havoc for him, Jared, and today the same thing is happening, but in greater numbers by the Bears.
Well, they've got a terrific midfield, haven't they, Brisbane? As good as any in the competition. And when you have a look at some of the players in there, it's not surprising. If they're young, they're extremely talented, and if they're old, they're extremely talented. So it's a big ask for Fitzroy to go with them for 4 quarters.
The difference is out to 28 points halfway through the 2nd quarter. Bartlett and Hogg, and it's out of bounds on centre wing. Trent Bartlett wearing Martin Leslie's old number 17. Jeff Hogg, full-time winner of the goal kicking at Richmond and former captain at Punt Road. Clark up high, taps to the back, ineffectual as it turned out, and we'll see another ball up.
Simon Atkins is just playing a kick behind play at present. So there's a loose player in the middle of the ground for the Bears.
Yeah, another free kick in the ruck. This time it's going to Fitzroy. Primus onto Boyd. Looks for Hogg. Needs to sit kindly for him. Hart's just about got him, but the ball was jarred free. That's holding the ball, says the umpire. might be a tad harsh, and Jeff Holt probably thinks the same. So Hart with the free kick. Third in the club's best and fairest last year. Kick dropped short. Rombotis a chance. Almost taken high. In fact, he was taken high. Umpire said the advantage rule will play. Kick to half forward, and the mark has been taken down there for Fitzroy by Cummings. Gives it on to Johnson. Johnson goes at goal from 30 metres. He kicks, but has missed the major end of the prize and finished up with only one behind to Chris Johnson. 4-7 Fitzroy, 9-4 the Bears. Fitcher on the bench there, having a bit of a rest, as Chapman does the kicking in.
Dion Scott also having a break, and Tristan Lynch yet to have a run in today's match. And we'll see there Jared Malloy, just a little bit disappointed.
Chrissy Johnson, who just had that shot of goal, is picking up Craig Lambert, who's resting up in the forward pocket at the moment. So he's covering some territories. We see the Brisbane Bears coach, John Northey, just perusing the on-field happenings.
Bears lead by 27 points. We've got 6 individual goal kickers as Hogg kicks the ball deep inside 50. Front of the pack. Malloy. Just 45 games of AFL football, but one of the big guns down at Fitzroy, as we see Bartlett will trap this, and he's happy to take it through for 1 point. Richard Champion. He's had a couple of big scalps over the last 12 months of league football. Kicks the ball wide to the running Chapman. Kicked it to space, Barker. He's already kicked 2 goals for the Lions. And Hart just kicks it off the ground. Chance for Rombotis. Not that keen to keep it in. Didn't have the numbers. And a boundary throw in.
Throw in on centre wing. In front of the Clem Jones stand here at the Gabba. To Matthews again. Primus wins this one. Boyd tackled by Lambert. Back to Hogg. High kick. Courage needed there. And Bartlett showed plenty of it. Must be the name, Kev. Trent Bartlett holding down key defence post for the Bears. Not a great kick though. And the mark taken by its Dent. Low trajectory pass. Going the Bears' way. Lambert. On to McAdam. Gilbert McAdam. That's a good long kick with a wet ball. Grabbing the pack pretty well was Darryl White. Just couldn't again quite handle the greasy football. Bamford got taken high by Ackermanis. Umpire says go, and he does now. Ackermanis kicks down towards full forward, and a good mark is taken down there by Johnson. Very athletic. Onto Boyd. Leppich and Wharf see the boundary line is too close for them, and it will be thrown in just on 50. So Primus and Clark once more to contest the boundary throw in. Kennedy behind them. Almost had a touch. Rombotis gives the hand pass away. Boyd. Very busy. Malloy. Straight down the spine of the ground. Mellington in front was held. Did he have the football? Not according to the umpire. Danny Dickfoss gets in front. Might have been pushed in the back. And the umpire letting it go. Kick away by Boss. Towards centre wing. Hand pass from Cummings. Back to Dent. Dent across his body.
It was a great kick from Dent. Good
Barker.
vision and delivered it.
McCarthy. Ackermanis late on the scene. Kickers towards half forward. That's about as far as they're going because the mark is taken by Lappin. Thought about the hand pass to Andrew Beers. Now comes in for the kick and goes long towards the outer side.
And Tristan Lynch on for his first run. Supplementary player at Richmond. Also was on Collingwood's list. And Kennedy marks on centre wing. So the Bears lead 58-32. Long bomb inside 50. Kicked off the ground by White. Back to Lappin. Oh, wonderful evasive skills onto the left boot and a great goal.
Individual goal kickers now by the Brisbane Bears, and that was one of the best goals we've seen today from Lappin. He certainly has got great footy skills, and they'll go forward again, the Bears. This time it's kicked up by Voss towards full forward. Oh, that's a terrific mark. He just got back onto the ground.
Well, he's one of the best marks
last year.
One of the best marks in the competition, this bloke, Pete. For a fellow who isn't of great height, he really does drag in some big marks.
A chance for his second, and the Bears 11th. As I said, they already have 7 individual goal kickers. The wind bringing it back, not as much as he would have liked, and I think that's at the bottom of the behind post, has it? Well, the umpire says it's one behind. Must have been over when it was. It did hit the bottom, but it was punched obviously behind the line, and so 10-5 to 4-8 now. Paxman brings the ball back into play after a little kick to himself up towards McCarthy onto Bamford. Bamford's kick to his skipper, and Boyd doesn't let him down, marking in front of Kennedy. Brad Boyd. Wet and breezy conditions. And then Lynch on the top of that pack there, just onto the ground, number 42. Umpire's found a free kick to the Bears. And it's going to whom? Ackermanis, it looks like. Jason Ackermanis from centre half back. Punch away by Fletcher. Wharf taken out of a contest. Brisbane, oh, they're doing it too easily from midfield. Champion from Lambert. What's he doing down there? Richard Champion. Not a great kick, maybe intended for Fletcher, but there's going to be a free kick to Fitzroy. Be taken by Wharf. Under Dent. To McCarthy, or that was the player for whom it was intended. McCarthy tried to get it back to Dent. Goes to Fletcher. Very quickly gets boot the ball. Ron Bottas, did he get a hand to that or not? Yes, he did, according to the umpire. So only one behind. Another behind to Brisbane. And the Bears go to 10 goals 6 to 4 goals 8, a difference of 34 points.
Under pressure, it's always good to kick the ball long. You can't always be a playmaker. You can't set it up every time you get the ball into your hands. Lepage marks on the edge of the centre square. I think that's the problem with some Fitzroy players. Just got to make that correct decision when they can set it up, when they've just got to kick the ball out of danger. Lepage goes for a big torp off the side of the boot. Dent, great smother by Scott. Picked up by Fletcher, great skills. He's got Merrett in the square, and Roger the Dodger's got it. Well, he's kicked 2, one in the first term, one in the second quarter. And he certainly will bring up his 3rd goal here.
Isn't he moving well? He'll go on for another couple of years, KB. Your record might be under threat here. He's moving as well as I've seen him for a couple of years.
We thought he could only play well in the sunshine.
Oh, he likes it wet. They sting more when it's wet.
So from point blank range, Merrett kicks his 3rd.
To the centre, Boyd kicks into Clark. Primus just can't quite get there to tackle him. Lambert sits nicely for him. Thought about going with the hand pass, kicks long instead, and that's a beautiful goal. Craig Lambert out of the centre almost, 12-6 to 4-8. Terrific kick with the wet footy.
Great effort by Craig Lambert. I've always been a great rep for Lambert. Even at Richmond when they were struggling a little bit, he was always getting his fair share of the football, setting things up. Never let his own standard of play drop. Probably just had a year or so when he wasn't at his absolute peak, came up to Brisbane and then started all over again, and he's just outstanding.
Well, he's arguably the best small man in the game. Voss tries to crash his way through. Atkins over the top. Lambert once more just burrows in after the ball. Some bodies there being helped off the ground. Brad Boyd, the skipper for Fitzroy, number 1. He's played for Victoria the last 2 years, State of Origin. Lambert, midfield players, just winning a lot of possessions. Johnson across to Dent. Pretty tough player, Dent. Wharf comes back, feeds the ball off once more to Dent. Wants to give it over the top to Pike. So this time the Lions run it out of defence. Half-forward line is Voss. We've got a couple of players down. Inside 50, Voss is one.
Big Roger Merrett, I think.
Roger Merrett is getting up. He's just holding the head.
He went in for the Shepherd once again. I think he may have come off second best that time.
Primus pushing and shoving
Against Clark.
So Primus will take the free kick. Gives the ball back to Ron Bottas. Unfortunately, kicked into the man. The ball goes over the line for a boundary throw-in. So Dion Scott on the boundary line along with Sean Hart. Hart third in their best and fairest last year. Scott just taking a breather as Clark wins the tap. Taken by McGregor. Kick's been smothered. Lynch for the Bears. Weaved his way through. Back to Ashcroft. Goes short. This time White couldn't take it. McCarthy does with a bit of strength. Across to Atkins. Now can the line set it up to Johnson? But once again, the hand pass doesn't hit the target. Johnson was desperate over the top of the ball. Danny Morton down there as well for Fitzroy. And Akamanis gets up mumbling to himself.
Less than a minute before half-time as the umpire throws it up almost in the centre of the ground. Bamford. Long shot at goal. Fitzroy need a few of those. Hand pass coming from Simon Atkins, but unfortunately the former South Australian couldn't convert and puts it through for a minor score. 4-9 Fitzroy. 1-2. Kicked by Bamford. Darryl White at left half back gets around Barker. Great skills, Darryl White. On to McAdam. They're seemingly doing as they please at the moment. Can they get another one before half-time? You certainly wouldn't count against them. Chris Scott. Great pace. Kicks just inside 50. And he sprayed it to the left, allowing for the win, but allowed just a little bit too much. And putting it through for only one behind. His first score of the day, 12-7 to 4-9. 79 to 33. Busy man on screen. Here's number 4 for Fitzroy and Stephen Paxman. McGregor makes a lead. Primus and Clark, great duel from the two big ruckmen, the two Matthews, as the siren goes to end the first half. And the Bears with the breeze in the second quarter. They piled on 8 goals to 2 against it by Fitzroy, and already opening up a lead of 45 points. But the man on screen has been absolutely fantastic, hasn't he, Craig Lambert? 46 points, isn't it?
Yes, he's a wonderful player. He's had a lot of possessions today, along with Fletcher's also been outstanding. And Voss Lambert's had 19 possessions. Ashcroft's had 13. Voss has had 12. They've just been quite outstanding. Lappin's had 11. We see Mickey Noonan, the coach there of Fitzroy, just making his way down. And we see Martin Pike having a bit of a chat there.
So at half-time,
Danny Morton.
A very handy lead for the Brisbane Bears, who will be equal league leaders if they win here today. 12-7, 79 against Fitzroy. 4-9, 33. We'll return to the Gabba shortly.
We don't have so.
In command of the situation at the moment. All right, let's go down to the boundary line. And when we last spoke to Dipper, it started to rain, and it looks like it's going to do that again, Dipper.
It certainly is, Peter. It's just starting to spin again. Fitzroy are trying to run through the lines here, but unfortunately, as Gerard has mentioned a couple of times now, every time they try and handball, the ball's a bit short or too long and making too many mistakes. And the Brisbane Bears are certainly capitalising over there. They've got winners all over the ground. And for Fitzroy, maybe they should just go back and try a long kick and try and set up play that way. Because at the moment, as we can see, Brisbane in total control down here. And the conditions have actually picked up quite nicely, because before it was cold and raining. Now there's a slight breeze and it's sort of quite humid again. So funny conditions down here at the moment, Peter.
What about the creche, Dip? Are they all behaving themselves up there?
They are behaving themselves up there. And
you and Arnold Schwarzenegger, you got a bit in common.
The kindergarten cop, eh? Actually, I'm just looking up there now at the coach's box up there. Alistair Lynch is up there. He's in pretty good form up there, smiling away. So give a bit of a wave up there. So, well, for me, I think...
back to the creche.
Back to the creche, yeah.
It's interesting, too, you mentioned Alistair Lynch, because he hasn't played against his old side yet since he moved from Fitzroy, through one reason or another. Injury today, and, of course, well, I suppose injury last year, too. He had that
shoulder
chronic fatigue syndrome, didn't he? Shoulder as well.
was just running through the experience of the Fitzroy side. And if you take out Atkins, Hogg and McCarthy, the fellow we're sitting next to, Peter, has got more games experience than them put together. So they aren't a very experienced mob. He's probably kicked a lot more goals than the side too. So we are looking at a group of players that really haven't been around too long. There's a lot of players here who haven't played more than 25 games. But at this stage, they really have to, KB, knuckle down in this quarter and make a real contest of this third quarter.
Especially when they're under pressure, kicking the ball long, getting it out of the danger zone so that they can get it away and down the ground, give themselves some chance. By turning the ball over or kicking short to contest, they're going to put themselves under a lot of pressure. The Bears have got too many good players midfield, so you've got to make the most of the opportunities, and you've just got to use a bit of common sense in picking the right option.
Third quarter from the Gabba. The wind still blowing fairly strongly. 46 points the difference in favour of the home side. Fitzroy would want a couple of goals just to get them back into this match and give them some real chance of making a contest of it. Chapman from left half back loves to run with the footy, does so here. Hart makes a shepherd for Fletcher, tries to give it to Lambert. He's caught with the football though. Good tackle, and it's going to be a Fitzroy free kick to be taken, well, pretty well almost on centre wing by Rombotis.
There's a very good tackle because he pinned one of Fletcher's arms, so he couldn't get rid of it legally.
Rombotis short of centre wing. Atkins through some very heavy traffic. Right down the centre of the ground. Mellington in front, punched away from him. Malloy, you know, he had his head taken off, but he did duck his head. Umpire lets it go. Lambert again. Onto Voss. Voss has kicked to centre wing. Lepic a chance. Twisted further forward. He'll look for someone upfield. Kicks across his body. Ball beats everybody. White, great speed, gets taken out of the contest though by McCarthy. Gives it back to Paxman. Long hand pass. McGregor, who kicked Fitzroy's first goal. Is that holding the ball? Atkins slaps it out wide. Paxman. McGregor. Rombotis. Thought about the hand pass, now goes long with one, up towards Hogg at half forward. Barker, who's kicked a couple, thought about the kick, goes at goal eventually himself, and he has kicked it. 3 goals to Barker. And that was just the one that Fitzroy wanted to start the third quarter.
Well, they certainly live on the knife edge because a number of times there the handballs had to be spot on, and they were. The Brisbane Bears attempting to apply the pressure and make this move break down, but on this occasion they were good enough, and that certainly will give them some confidence. A nice result there from Barker. 3 goals, and a side that's been well held to date is a pretty good performance.
Yes, a very handy performance just in his 30th game, formerly of the under-18 competition. Comes from Pascoe Vale, and maybe someone Fitzroy can build a future around. That is, of course, if they have a future. They've got a big meeting tomorrow night when we should know what their financial situation is. So Primus trying to crash his way through. Clark grabs him in a bear hug. So Brisbane 12-7-79. They lead by 40 points. Fitzroy 5-9-39. Atkins has it taken away. Lappin. Gilbert McAdam just tunnel balls it back. Ackermanis kicks it off the ground. Chance for Hart to run onto the ball. McCarthy did well. Bang, crashed into Lepic. Picked up by White. Hand pass is intercepted, but he wins it again. Gives it back to Voss. Hovers over the ball, then drags it in. Now caught high there, Lepic. He's upset about that. The free kick will go to Rowan Wharf. Fitzroy just able to kick 2 goals in each quarter. An 8-goal second term for the Bears have set it up as Scott thumps the ball from behind Boyd. Make that Bamford. Pounces on the ball, goes wide and finds Cummings. So Cummings inside 50. And at long last he finds Jared Malloy. Hasn't had the best of days as McCarthy is going off after that very heavy clash. And Malloy, who's only had 1 kick for the game, is their leading goal kicker this year with 11, and Darren Holmes comes on.
This is what happened to him. Pretty big knock from Lepic on the shoulder area. So he's in the hands of the medical team, the physio and the doctor, and hopefully he can get back out in the field.
Jared Malloy from 45 metres out. And he's kicked it. That'll lift his confidence.
Dent out of the centre for Fitzroy. Barker, who kicked the first goal for Fitzroy in this quarter, he's now got 3. Hogg looking for options. Dummies nicely onto his left foot. Kicks up towards Boyd in front. At the back is Scott. Couldn't complete the mark. Rombottas tried to fist it forward. Malloy again, who also kicked one this quarter. This time the kick well off target. And it bounces out of bounds in Fitzroy's right forward pocket. 6-9 to 12-7. Malloy looking a little proppy. 34 points the difference in favour of Brisbane. Quite dark here now. Clark over the top. Morton just can't quite gather it in. Gets rid of Busey. Let's go down to Dipper and Johnny McCarthy.
Yes,
how is he, Dipper?
Yes, Pete. They've just taken him up to the rooms just to check him out. Looks like he's seen a few too many Bears at the moment.
A few too many stars as well. Hogg with Clark. Clark too tall. Taps to the back. McGregor a chance. Kicks off the ground. McAdam off one step. Primus, good grab. A mark. Has it almost been taken by Trent Cummings? No, umpire disallows it. McAdam from a standing start, and the Bears are going to get out of trouble, but Primus gets another chance. Gets grabbed, taken high, falls to the ground. Chris Scott, long looping hand pass to Lambert, one of the best on the ground, if not the best. Lambert's kick up towards Merrett territory, couldn't complete the mark. Lepic went through pretty solidly. Paxman hits the deck. Lepic still he goes, but the ball out of bounds right on 50. 6 goals against North Melbourne. He's got 1 goal, 1 against his name this afternoon. A boundary throw-in. Left half forward for Brisbane. The Bears' first day game this year in the competition. Over the top is White. Johnson dispossessed. Hand pass, errant though it may be, intended for Boyd. He couldn't quite handle it. Fletcher picks it up, but it's out of bounds again in the almost identical position. Brad Boyd. Fitzroy skipper always leading from the front. Lepic and Primus. Still nobody can get a clean possession. And still the umpire letting it go. Hart goes in, tries to pick it up, not successful, and we'll see another bounce. Inboard about 20 metres from the boundary, where we've had 2 successive throw-ins. There he is, the former Tiger, Craig Lambert. Holmes on the ground, started on the bench, former Sydney Swan. Primus and Lepic. Atkins, good hand pass, and the Bears through the Roys through Wharf are going to clear up towards the centre square. Clark onto McAdam. Fletcher at left centre wing. At his 3rd AFL club. Gives it back to Ashcroft. Marcus Ashcroft to a very congested forward line, and Holmes takes his first mark for the afternoon.
So Holmes, who certainly is a tough player, and this first 5 minutes has been good for Fitzroy. Players are getting in, having a go, making a contest of it. Mickey Noonan has been saying players getting paid, not having a go. So he'd be pleased with this first 5 minutes. Bamford's got it inside the centre square. He's got to lead up to the half-forward line. There's a terrific grab down here. This is by the skipper, Brad Boyd. He'll lead by example. Gnaws the lead from Hogg, kicks long up to the forward line where Mellington was there, playing from behind. But Cummings in front. We've got a ball up. This is better, Jared.
Much better. The Bears almost looking a little bit sloppy at this stage, but a lot to do with the pressure that Fitzroy is placing on them. And some great skills there. What a great kick and mark by Boyd there.
So Buse just paddles the ball out. It's still on 50. Hogg underneath the ball.
And every Fitzroy supporter at home would be pleased with their efforts in this 3rd quarter. The game is broken open, or it becomes a real contest in the first 15 minutes of the 3rd quarter. They've just got to go on with it now. A couple more goals and they're back in with a slight chance.
Well, you've got to set the standards, and Fitzroy having a real red-hot go. Back to Boyd. Goes back, and Dent takes a fingertip. Lays it off straight away to Rombottas. Goes short. Didn't hit a target. Johnson overruns the ball. Great tackle to Buse. It's a ball up. Johnson very upset. Booted 4 goals last week for the Lions. Andrew Buse on screen. There's Johnson heading back to defence. Buse under pressure. Primus tries to take a one-hander. It's a pretty impressive player. Still they bottled up on the half-forward line for the Lions. Lambert. He's been a wonderful player. 22 possessions. So a ball up still 55 metres out from Fitzroy's goal. 6-9-45 the Lions. Brisbane 12-7-79.
The difference 34 points. Ackermanis with speed past Bamford. Johnson, good mark. Good mark under any conditions. Ball still pretty slippery. Now Pike. Kicks it straight to about the tallest man on the ground in Matthew Clark. The smallest, perhaps, or one of the smallest, in Andy Buse standing next to him giving directions. Marking contest, none can take it. Flipped out wide, Gilbert McAdam. Paxman will have to get back quickly from that marking contest. He does. The ball just inside the field of play. He runs out. He's caught with the football. Here's fans looking for a free kick. Wasn't a bad tackle by Lepic. It's out of bounds. Throw in. 10 metres from the behind post. Merrett with Primus. Wolf hits the deck. Holmes is in there as well. Primus has got it. Ball held to him, according to the umpire, and it's going to be another ball up. Pressure points. Oh, there's a free kick out of that. Now, what was that for, Jared?
Well, we believe it was for back chatting. It's not a bad name for a show. But that really does kill you, KB, when you battle your guts out for so long, for 10 minutes, and all of a sudden you've got an easy free kick paid against you. For undisciplined play.
Roger Merrett has kicked 3 goals already in his 299th game, and he's now got 4.
So 85 plays 45, 8 individual goal kickers for the Bears. Here's Lappin. He's been a star. Breaks from the square, kicks down to 50. Merrett. Can he kick it off the ground, get his boot to the ball? Hart written into the ground. Play on, says the umpire. Comes back to Scott. The boundary umpire, and Scott now is going to argue. I think we can see Lepic was well over the line. Primus takes the front position. Fitzroy have certainly lifted their rating in this third term. Barker's been their chief forward. He's booted 3 goals. Singles to Bamford, Malloy and McGregor. And Merrett with 4 and Darryl White with 3, the leading goal kickers for the Bears. Trying to crash his way through is Johnson. Done some nice things in this term. Atkins sets it up. Johnson runs on. The old 1-2. Kick short. Poor kick. And McAdam takes the easiest of chest marks.
And just looking through the glasses at Rombotis behind play, looks to be limping slightly. Kicks it up towards where Lappin again makes some space for himself and gets on his bike pretty quickly. Up towards full forward. Punched away from Lepic. Another chance from Chris Scott. Palms the ball further forward. Likewise Merrett. Lappin again. Tries to draw a player to him, giving Lepic the chance onto Scott, but he's in the pocket. Need to be a good kick or he's run his full distance. He kicks. Oh, great goal! Superb kick from Scott. The Bears 14-7 to 6-9. Thought he might have run into a hole there, Jared, in the pocket, but he turned it into something pretty positive.
He did. He worked very hard after copying that big bump. Lappin was trying to draw a play, which he finally did. And Scott just kept running, and then with no pressure on at all, he decided to open up the goal face and screw one round.
Primus to Atkins. The Lions out of the centre square. It's on 50, punched away by Chapman. To Danny Dickfoss, originally drafted by Fitzroy. Rockets the hand pass to Ackermanis, drops it in short, looking for Voss. Kicks down towards 50. Lepage is the target. He's a bouncy player. Holmes is tough. Caught. Great tackle by Lepage. And it's on.
Careful, boys.
Now that could be a melee if there's more than how many, Jared?
2,000, 4,000.
Well, these two sides got fined heavily in the match
6,000.
last June for a melee.
Cash register just ticking over there nicely, Pete.
So Chrissy Johnson out of defence. Boss drops it. Atkins is battled hard to Hogg. Gives it across to Bamford. He's got toe. Former South Australian kicks down towards Malloy. Can he take it on the second grab? Second grab. Quick snap by Boyd. Is it going to bounce through? 1 point.
Well, good work by the field umpire there to get the ball out of that potential melee. And once the ball gets going, the players really don't want to push and shove. They want a piece of the action.
Chapman with that very short haircut. Bald is beautiful. I could have told him that. Ashcroft keeps it in.
Trendsetter for years, Gabriel.
Clark with that long reach. Could trap it. He's got support from Scott. Goes down to Merrett. Well done by Holmes. Plenty of courage chipping in front of Big Roger the Dodger. Gets it across to Paxman. So they can break out of defence to Bamford. Pretty handy player. It's a wobbly old kick. Sets Chapman up. Back to Fletcher. Took a fingertip under these conditions. It was just extraordinary play. Cross to Ackermanis. Fastest on the Bears list. Big bomb down. Wharf drops it. Lepage will make him pay for this. Lambert gets it at ground level. Just lost control. Wharf on hands and knees. Gets it back to Ron Bottas. And he'll take the free kick.
Couple of free kicks to Fitzroy there. Merrett pointing a finger at the umpire. He's not going to change his decision. Roger trying to get the last word. Well, there's one there and another one there.
It was excellent play. Just not taking possession of the football. He could see that Roger was going to tackle him and he drew a free kick.
Paxman at right half back. Call him one of the veterans in the Fitzroy side. He's certainly one of the most experienced in their lineup. And the ball beating Barker over the boundary line for a throw-in between wing and right half forward. Under 8 minutes left in the third term, and the Bears leading by 45 points. They led by 46 at half-time. Fitzroy got a couple of quick goals early in the third term. And Brisbane have come up with the answers so far. Clark and Hogg. Barker, quick kick out of the congestion. Gains about 5 metres free side. Beats Tristan Lynch over the boundary line. Tristan number 42. Alistair not playing today. Probably would return next week. So too McRae, who's been out with a groin strain so far this year. One of the speediest players in their lineup and in the AFL. Be good to see him back. Clark again does well. McGregor makes front position. Might have been held. Not according to the umpire. It's out of bounds in front of McAdam. Almost in the same spot. Anthony McGregor kicked the Roy's first goal this afternoon. They need plenty more. Still trailing by 45 points. Clark with Hogg once again to contest the throw-in. Hogg looking for front position to offset the height of his opponent. McGregor tries to barge through, almost caught on the wrong Bottas. Dummies the hand pass, then goes out wide towards the 50-metre line. Hart, McAdam, Ackermanis. Bears running in numbers out of defence. Good long kick by Ackermanis. Fletcher and Johnson. Fletcher getting front position, almost held, looks for the hand pass, tried to find Ackermanis, but it's Bamford with superior skills and speed. And Gilbert McAdam seeing the ball safely over the boundary line in front of the big scoreboard, the lights on which are shining very brightly at the moment.
Bamford's had 18 possessions for the Lions. He's done very well on his wing. Clark against Hogg. The ball up. 60 metres out from Fitzroy's goal. Lambert just asked the question. He's a great mate of Hogg's. Teammates at Richmond. Great personal friends as Lappin takes the ball away. This time the kick is not that good. It's out of bounds on the full. Conditions have been difficult for most of the game. It's been slippery as we see Ron Bottas. Kicks the ball up towards the front edge of the centre square. Punts away at ground level. Pounced on here by Voss. Kicks the ball. Now, it's a race in two. It's going to favour Fletcher. Gives it across wide here to Lepage, who's going to stroll in the goal. And he kicks his second.
On the Bears 15th, 97 now plays 46. Atkins kicks out towards half forward. Kennedy, one of the best kicks on the side, but with a hand pass this time to Danny Dickfoss. Back to Atkins. Voss slipped over at the crucial moment. Fires out a hand pass to Tristan Lynch. Tristan Lynch at left centre wing. Started on the bench, making the most of his opportunities. Ashcroft taps further forward. Hart off the ground. Lepage and Wolf. Wolf tried to get it over the boundary line, didn't succeed. Hart, great skills to get it back in front of goal. Lepage, another one. Will he go off the ground? Now he picks it up and kicks his third.
Terrific play by Hart. Twice he followed the ball up. Twice he kicked it off the ground. And he set that goal up that time for Justin Lepage.
Well, here it is on replay. There's the first left footer off the ground. And Lepage shows pretty good skills. You're going to have height and speed to combat him. And another easy one there. After a hell of a lot of solid work from the Brisbane Bears to Justin Lepage.
Well, Lepage with 3 goals, joins Darryl White with 3. Roger Merrett has booted 4. Clark wins the tap. Ackermanis. Got a bevy of small midfield players, the Bears. Just about the best in the competition. Ashcroft takes the free. Fletcher, Lambert, Voss, Scott, Ackermanis. Got some great talent. At the back of the pack, Scott nearly kicks it off the ground, and this time Hart does it again. Has it been touched? It has. So Chris Scott there, and also Sean Hart forcing the ball forward. It's Paxman quickly gets the ball back into play. They've got the numbers out wide. 2 against 1. Now they even up. Dent takes it. Kicks back towards home. Started the game on the interchange. Lappin to McAdam, just tries to grub it along the ground. Goes Ackermanis with quick hands to Lambert. Bang!
Superb skills by the Bears. Lappin's ball, quick hands from Jason Ackermanis. And then a pretty good kick straight on the chest of Big Roger.
So Roger Merrett's booted 4 goals. 1 in the first quarter, 2 in the second term, 1 so far in this third term. Just his 3rd game for the year. He's 299th in league football. His 150th game for the Bears. And he's off target.
4 goals, 1 his kicks. And the rumour is that he may not play next week. He might be rested, which will mean he will play his 300th here at the Gabba against Hawthorn. That's the rumour.
Well, if he kicks 6 or 7 goals, it'd be pretty hard to leave him out. You've still got to win the games.
I'm just passing on what I've heard, Kev. Paxman kicks in. McAdam up high with one hand. Ball clears the pack. Courage needed there. Johnson showed plenty of it against Tristan Lynch. Atkins fumbles, tackled by Lambert. Came from Cummings, the hand pass onto Ron Bottas. Still he goes inside 50 and off the hands. But Malloy, who's not too happy with his efforts in missing it, and 1 behind.
Pretty good play by Chrissy Johnson. He's a real goer, Gerard, and he put his body on the line, crashed into Tristan Lynch.
Yeah, it's an individual effort there, and he did win the ball well.
Kennedy to champion after a free kick downfield. So the Bears, still they run, still they pressure the Fitzroy defence. Merrett this time couldn't take the mark. Lepage a chance. Lambert tackled by Holmes. Fletcher goes in smartly and quickly. Wolf crashes on top of him. Merrett overruns the footy. And the ball out of bounds. Merrett looking for a free kick for deliberate. He's going to get it. He's umpiring like the late EJ used to do. It's going to Hart.
Better still, because it's on his preferred foot. Being a left footer, open up the goal front.
He's a left footer. He's also great at soccer. After what we saw earlier, we've set up Justin Lepage for his goal. White makes a lead. Right on the boundary. Hart's kick into the square. Tackled by McGregor, ineffective. Holmes goes in solidly. White gives the hand pass away. Hart this time on his right foot, snaps and kicks truly.
Well, it'll be a test for the young players of Fitzroy to hang in there to make this game competitive from this point on. Not to allow the Bears to get the ball out of the centre like they did that time to Voss, down towards Scott. Ashcroft can feed it off. Caught is Scott. Good tackle that time by Morton. So a ball up inside 50 for the Bears. Ashcroft on screen, kicked the goal in the opening term. And we can see there, round 16, Brisbane 26-14, 170, defeated Fitzroy by 65 points. That's the highest and best performance against the Lions. So kick off the ground, finds Barker. He's booted 3. He's been a good forward for Fitzroy. And that's a beautiful pass, and he finds Mellington. Just come off the interchange bench, the kid from Shepparton. There's some big raps on Mellington.
Well, he was very impressive in the Ansett Cup. I saw the game against Fitzroy where he was very good. He struggled a little bit today. Up forward, there hasn't been a great deal of supply, but looked pretty smart with that lead.
So from right on 50, doesn't get the result they want. Just a point. And getting a bit of advice there from Mum. So McAdam kicks wide, looking for Fletcher. Could have been caught high. And Fitzroy bottle it up, still on their forward line.
He's been a great player, Adrian Fletcher. KB, 2 clubs have let him go, and right now he's one of the best midfielders in the competition.
Well, he never played a senior game at Geelong and then back home and then finished up at St Kilda. And then, you're right, last year was the leading possession winner in the comp.
Kennedy, kick up towards midfield. Pike kicks across his body. And the mark has been taken there by Cook. Has he allowed that? Yes, he has. Brett Cook.
Once threatened to sue the AFL over the draft.
Wouldn't be the most popular person doing that, though, probably. It's going to be what you might call, probably not a very good career move, is it?
Well, he changed his mind and didn't want to go to Fitzroy, but he's very happy there now.
Of course, the thing with this match is a percentage for the Brisbane Bears. If they win by a huge amount, they could be on top of the ladder. It's going to be a big percentage booster for them. Going to be a ball up.
Trivia question, has the Brisbane Bears ever been on top of the AFL ladder? I wouldn't think so.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't have thought so.
But if they can come up with a big last quarter tonight, they may be. Even at 3/4 time, John Northey would be pretty happy. At 17-9, 111, the Bears, and Fitzroy 6-12, 48.
Well, the great challenge, of course, now is for the Fitzroy side to really regroup at 3/4 time. Obviously, they're not going to win this game, but if Brisbane come out and kick a 10-goal last quarter, they'll go away with absolutely nothing. Whereas if they are competitive and they can even outscore them, they're going to be kicking into the wind, so it's going to be a tough task. But if they can outscore them on the board, well, at least they've got something positive to go home with.
Well, the Bears' biggest win over Fitzroy was back in 1991. It was 65 points. They'll be trying to better that and increase their percentage. Who knows where they might finish up tonight on the ladder. 111 plays 48 with 1/4 to go at the Gabba. We'll be back shortly. After a 7-goal 3rd quarter, Brisbane leading by 63 points over Fitzroy, and if they can win by a sufficient margin, they could finish on top of the ladder this afternoon, so we'll keep you posted on that. Very gloomy conditions here, I guess, especially if you're a Fitzroy supporter. John Northey having a few words to say. The other match being played today is at Waverley Park in better conditions than we have here, and we're going to be showing you a score from that game. If you don't wish to see it, look away now. The score's coming up on screen.
Today's match is part of the
Gloomy conditions because the rain is falling again, Dipper. Now, you were standing fairly near the Fitzroy huddle. What did Mr. Noonan have to say?
Well, it must be pretty hard to be a coach, but I'll tell you what, he's such a disciplinarian, because the fact is that, as we mentioned, halfway through that 3rd quarter, Fitzroy were very, very good, and because of one silly boy making some comments to an umpire, there was a free kick given to Roger Merrett, and Michael Noonan soon let him know that because of his bad mouth and because of his stupid play there allow the Bears to get back into this game, and he spent a good 2 or 3 minutes on that point there. And he just asked the boys, well, you know, the game is not over yet. You've got to finish off the game, so get back into it.
Thanks, Tipper.
Nice, buddy.
63 points the difference in favour of Brisbane. Atkins has his kick smothered. Bamford went in pretty solidly, was unable to clear the congestion. Primus trying to get the ball out, also into the open. And here's mud in your eye and your mouth and everything else. Matthew Primus picks himself up from the glue pot. You'd like to be bowling from the members' end, I think, into that. One by Clark. McGregor cleaned up his teammate down there in Pike. Ball comes back in the same direction. Mark has been taken by McAdam. Over the head of Darryl White. Pike again, trying some soccer tactics. He's tried just a little bit too hard because he's kicked it out of bounds on the full. And it's going to be a free kick to be taken by Darryl White. Third on the all-time Bears goal-kicking list now. Marking contest on the 50-metre line. Hart gets back there quickly. Tries to bend it back with the left footer. Oh, great snapshot. Superb kick by Hart again for a goal. Great skills shown by Hart, and Sean Hart kicks his second. 18-9 to 6-12.
Well, he's coming off his best year last season when he was a high finisher in the Bears' best and fairest winner. I think he came third, thanks KB. And he is very dangerous around goals, and he just tops off their midfield nicely.
So a great start for the Bears. We don't think they've ever been on top of the AFL ladder. Well, if they can finish off in this last term, we may even see a bit of history. Had their parade of champions before the game with Mark Micken, their first ever captain, and best and fairest winners, and Martin Leslie and Mark Withers. And maybe they'll be inspired. Ball comes back to Ackermanis. Look at the pace of Ackermanis through the centre of the ground. And it's been marked by Ashcroft. It's on the front edge of the centre square. White wants it long. Torpedoes off the side of the boot. How often does that happen? White will get there first. He's booted 3. Back to Hart. Slips over that critical moment. White does well. The Hart feeds it off to Lambert. Twists and turns. Caught. It's a good decision. Bamford takes it. It's one of the positives out of this game for Fitzroy. The kick was a poor one. Tried to set it up here to Boyd. But Primus, Bamford, Johnson and Barker, at least Mickey Noonan can be pleased with their efforts. Picked up by Atkins. It's a wild kick back towards the half-forward line. Danny Dickfoss will get there first in front of Mellington. He'll be happy to just force this ball over the boundary line. For a throw in as the lights come alive here at the Gabba.
Could have had him on at half-time too, Kev. 69 points the Bears lead by. It looks a little bit better out there now. The two Matthews do battle once more. Clark and Primus, they've had a superb duel all day. Lambert gets ridden into the ground. Kennedy. White. Ball bounces away from him. Tackled. Did he have possession? Still goes Pike. And we give it to Paxman, who made position downfield. He's gone a little bit longer than that and found Holmes, who marks in front of Sean Hart. To the run of Paxman. Paxman nearly at midfield now. He moved down there pretty well. Punch away by Tristan Lynch. The umpire says illegally.
Good running there from Paxman and Darren Holmes. Good build-up to date for the Roy's.
Hogg's free kick. Chapman punches. Rombotis turns into Matthew Clark straight away. And there is a whistle, but Rombotis will get a free kick. Boy, gee, Salty Skipper into trouble there. I don't think Boyd would be too happy, and the free kick will go to Brisbane in the person of Voss. Best and fairest winner at the Bears last year. Lappin's been outstanding this afternoon. Kev mentioned his balking ability. His running isn't bad either. Fletcher, 2 grabs, yes.
It's a good point you made before, Jared, with his marking ability for his size, Fletcher. He's extremely good overhead.
Well, it doesn't look terribly bad conditions on the screen, but we've got to say it's very wet, and that ball gets very heavy early in the quarter, and it's very difficult to mark, but this guy does it so easily.
Outside 50, the kick off the hands of the pack, and through for only 1 behind to the Brisbane Bears. 18-10 to 6-12, and that makes the difference 70 points.
What about the draw of the Bears, KB? A real quirk that they don't get down to Melbourne until almost halfway through the season.
No, it's something that they'd be very, very happy with. Of course, with the lights up here at the Gabba, cashing in on the fact that they're a side that is attracting new support up here. So playing as many games early in the season to grab that support. McGregor for Fitzroy kicks wide to Boyd. Needed the bounce. The ball was kicked to space. He's a top goer. Won their best and fairest last year. Chapman in front. Lynch tried to crash his way through. Buse was caught. Chapman still fights for the ball. So does McAdam. And they're good enough to force the ball over for a boundary throw-in.
Just while there's a break in play, KB, do you think that the fact that Fitzroy have been on national television today will influence the meeting tomorrow after their performance?
I don't think today's performance will influence anything. It's just a matter of whether they can financially prove to the AFL that they can be a big player in this competition.
Kick by Fletcher. Up towards centre wing. Wharf goes down. Umpire says it was legal. Play continues. Now that's a free kick. What's he paying here? Not quite sure what that was for. It's going to be taken by Dent. Lepic in front. Intended for Primus. Lepic chopped it off well. Gives the hand pass away to Lambert, or he tried to. It's out of bounds. He was just a little bit too far back in his step. And it's going to be thrown in on centre wing. 18-10, the Brisbane Bears leading Fitzroy 6-12. That's 118 to 48. These two go at it again. Clark and Primus. Kick down by Lappin. Johnson almost tries some tunnel ball, gets it back to himself, flips it up again. It's almost a throw.
And was paid, I think, Pete.
So Fletcher's going to take it. Darryl White had it initially. Roger Merrett in the foreground. Has already kicked 4 goals. He goes long. Oh, great mark taken by Voss. What a grab in the wet that was.
Well, this is just a challenge for him when the ball gets wet, Michael Voss. It's too easy when it's dry. In fact, he had a fumble in the first quarter. It was the first fumble he's had in AFL football, KB.
Gee, that was a terrific mark. It's the angle he's got to shoot at. Distance obviously not a factor. Tries to banana it. Crowd likes it, and so does the goal umpire, I think. Yes, he does.
And Voss made his debut in 1992, the youngest player to ever play with the Brisbane Bears. He was just 16 years of age. He was turned into a champion in 4 years. Here's Akamanis. Oh, it's a pretty fair talent himself. He was a champion All-Australian under-17 player. Kicks the ball up inside 50. Fletcher's there. Hart. He's kicked 2 goals. Gets it out here to Lepic. He's booted 3. Trying to keep the ball in is Johnson. Been one of the really good players and tries for Fitzroy today. Battled really hard. As we see, Rowan Wharf just forces the ball over the line. Number 33 for Fitzroy. 76 points now. Brisbane Bears lead by.
Good vision by Sean Hart to put that ball out in front for Lepic. He couldn't control it. The skill was still there.
So Ron Bottas at the bottom of the pack, and we've got a ball up. Fitzroy has just been able to kick 2 goals in each quarter of the match so far. Still yet to score a goal in this final term. Lappin, dispossessed, then wins the ball, intercepted, then it bounces back. It was like a pinball machine. Lappin gets the ball back off to Akamanis. Over the top of the ball. Dion Scott cross to Lambert, sets it up through Lynch. Kicks the ball out wide. Merrett was the target. He's caught behind. Maybe he's going to be lucky. Rogers caught. Play on, they say. Lepic has a quick snap. He's kicked a point.
3 goals, 2 to Justin Lepic. 125 to 48, so the Bears getting closer to that coveted top position on the table. It will depend on percentage. They'll certainly be equal leaders after tonight. Paxman goes in short. Finds Matthew Dent. Kicks to the centre wing, and that's a good mark to Holmes under these conditions.
Atkins is off too, Peter, and Chandler is on for his first run.
Holmes just kicked down towards half forward. He finds Hogg just inside the boundary line. Yes, the boundary umpire says OK. Hogg runs around. Former Richmond skipper. Kicks to half forward. Punch away by Chapman. Kick away by Kennedy. Kennedy's kick clears the pack. Holmes misjudges it slightly. Might be able to get a hand pass away. He can, but to the opposition. That was Ashcroft. Fletcher kicks it on to Voss. Man of the moment, really. And in more ways than one. Down to Sean Hart. 20 metres out. And Hart kicks another one.
21 possessions to Michael Voss. Well, we've got the computers out. We're trying to figure out just what that score would be to rocket the Brisbane Bears to the top of the ladder. So we can see there, that looks like Leon Harris sitting in the coach's box there, one of the former greats of Fitzroy, probably pondering greater days. Mickey Noonan, as Dipper said, very angry at three-quarter time. Here's Hart again. Holmes did well. Gets his body over the top of the ball. Ashcroft sockers it off the ground. Through for a point. So Ashcroft, 3 times he's finished in the Bears' top 3 in the best and fairest. Simon Atkins is off the ground. 22 possessions to Atkins before he was off. Paxman kicks the ball straight up the centre of the ground. Boyd's his target. Lepich was there, taken by Dion Scott. Hooks the ball straight back to the 50. Pike, he was besieged. The numbers were there. McGregor for Fitzroy kicks the ball hurriedly out wide on the full. So the defence of Fitzroy is under enormous pressure at the moment. Ball's coming through midfield. It'd be pretty tough to be a... So we're just pondering maybe a win of something like 100 points could rocket the Bears to top of the AFL ladder.
Well, they're just about there, Kev, aren't they? 48 to 132. It's not far off that. And as I said, we're about halfway through the final quarter. In fact, not quite. 10:51 left out of 20 minutes. So that may indeed still happen. Paxman kicks in again. Been a busy afternoon for Steve Paxman. Dent out wide. Chandler's just come onto the ground. Onto Boyd. Wharf back to Chandler. Chandler's high kick inside 50. Barker caught underneath it. Punch away by Bartlett. Hogg is there. So too is Tristan Lynch. It beats both of those players out of bounds. Right on 50 in front of the Bears Social Club, in which they'd be celebrating wildly already. Even more so if they get the top spot on the table. Fitzroy's last goal 1 minute into the third quarter, so it's a long time between drinks for the Roys. McGregor pinned. Ackermanis it is. At the back is Pike. Got 2 hands to it. Couldn't complete the mark. Still he goes. Boyd's in there. Wharf went past, or it was Dent. But the Bears, still they run. Boss takes the hand pass on the edge of the square. Great smother Johnson. Wharf goes off the ground. Onto Dent. Now Malloy. Not Malloy, it was Pike from the skipper. Punch away by McAdam. Lappin has been absolutely sensational. Fletcher, well, they're toying with them now. Buse kicks back towards Voss. So plenty of possessions there to bother the statisticians as the Bears try to set something up. Chapman has moved well downfield. Lights on here at the Gabba, and they're shining brightly for the Bears. No one home, and it bounces through. Now it bounces out of bounds for no score, right next to the behind post, and it will be another throw in. 10 individual goal kickers for Brisbane today. Nearly another one, Gerard.
Yes, Nathan Chapman thought he might get himself on the scoreboard there. He knows that with a wet, slippery surface, the ball's going to skid in a straight line, but you have to still kick it accurately.
Kicked off the ground, out of bounds again. No, Bamford traps it just inside.
Been good.
He has been good. Saw him against Hawthorn. He wasn't bad. Boyd, well, always turns in a very polished performance. And the State of Origin coming up, that was too high on Bamford. He'll get a free kick. I think you would have been impressed with the Fitzroy skipper today, Gerard.
Well, Brad Boyd's been a very good player for Fitzroy, and he was excellent in South Australia last year. He was one of Curly Austin's favourites.
So Bamford, recruited from North Adelaide, He's battled pretty hard today, 19 possessions. So they transfer the ball to Pike. On the outer side of the ground to the members, and he finds McGregor. Started his career at Collingwood. Gives the ball across here to Rombottis. Down to Holmes, started on the interchange bench.
The thing about Darren Holmes, he does know when to go forward off the halfback flank. He's a player that really has got a future in front of him.
Chrissy Johnson, who's been one of Fitzroy's best today, gets the ball across to Danny Morton. Couldn't take control. Dent does well, rockets the ball out. Here's Paxman. So he's been playing in defence, long way from that key position. Brought up just that minor score. Roger Merrett there, just on his haunches. It's been a big day for Roger. He's kicked 4 goals, 1 in the first quarter, 2 goals in the second, 1 in the third. It's 299th game, and he's 150th for the Bears. So a big night coming up.
The bigger one after the 300th. We're just talking about Holmes, and he comes down with a pretty good mark. Former Sydney Swan.
Interesting move.
Johnson. He kicks high and long up towards full forward. And taken through. No, it's not taken through for a rush behind by Gilbert McAdam. I thought he was going to do that. He gets it back to Scott at right half back. Barker comes at him. Brushes one tackle. Still Barker goes at him. Back to Lambert, who's been particularly good on to Buse. And Andy Buse, short of right centre wing. Looked for Hart, couldn't find him. Ackermanis applies a tackle on Holmes. Arguably illegal. Not so according to the umpire. It's going to be a bounce. Well, ball up. They've been throwing it up all day under these spongy conditions here, made worse by the early rain. Primus sharks it, gives it away to the former South Australian in Bamford. Martin Pike measures up his options and decides to go long, straight down the ground. It's a pretty good mark. It's been taken down there by, that was Cummings. Kick comes down towards Morton, not Morton, Cook. Brett Cook, number 35. As we mentioned earlier, was thinking about suing the AFL over the draft. A couple of seasons back now. Hogg, former Tiger captain, in front of Scott. And Fletcher, who seems to be able to run all day effectively. Looks for Lepich. Wolf is there with him, so too is Darryl White, opposite number 33. He looks for and nearly finds Scott, who might get a free kick just off the centre square.
So Scott then gives the ball across to Voss. They could have raffled it. Lucky number was 3. Gives the ball back to Scott. Sets it up here to Lappin, who's a great finisher.
He's second.
22 possessions to Nigel Lappin. And if we add up the possessions of Voss, Ashcroft, Fletcher, Lambert and Lappin, 117 times they've had the ball midfield, and I think there lies a problem for Mickey Noonan today.
Yes, the Brisbane Bears awesome foursome, and as we know, Peter gets excited every time we mention them.
Well, that lot you mentioned, Kev, have been pretty exciting today to watch, and if you were down on the forward line, you'd be smiling all the time, wouldn't you?
You certainly would be. Primus wins the tap, but taken by Lappin across to Voss. Merrett's in front, back of the pack, wide on hands and knees. It was just as quick on his hands and knees as he was as the Fitzroy defenders were.
Well, there's very few players
up
that can run flat out when they're haunched over, let alone on their hands and knees. Alex Jezelenko is one.
Well, he's the fastest crawler in league football, I reckon. Darryl White.
And you mean that in the nicest possible way?
In the nicest way, he's the fastest crawler in league football.
See, David Murphy was outstanding, the pace he could run with his hands along the ground. Jezza was another one.
Oh, Matty Primus missed that one. We can make excuses for him. Boyd, good tackle, Lambert. Dent was there. Lambert again. Boyd, kick smothered or partially so. Scott. Wolf came at him. Ball still there to be won. Chandler tries to do just that, puts his body on the line. And it will be a ball up about 40 metres from goal. 5 minutes left in this match. The Bears by 91 points, and we reckon they needed to win by about 100. Well, I guess 91's about 100, but a couple more goals perhaps could sew up top spot for them. You know, it's pretty hard to be a mathematician at this stage. That was Dion Scott having a snap. been a very disappointing Fitzroy this afternoon. They came back well in the third quarter, the first part of it, but some undisciplined talking let the Bears back in. They've gone on with it from there. Lepic. Akamanis. Gee, that's not a bad shot of a kick. Oh, close to goal of the day, that. Oh, what a kick, what a goal. 22-14 to 6-13. And we'll have another look at that one because that nearly gives them a lead of 100 points.
The classic thing about this kick is that this boy is a right footer. He's very ambidextrous. There's not many players like him. Greg Williams and Darren Jarman are two that can deliver with both feet. But I'm not sure even they'd be able to kick it like this. He is just exceptional on his non-preferred side.
Absolutely sensational.
And you can see the pace there when the player was close to him, how he was able to quickly put in those steps to give himself a bit of room to get onto that left foot. Here's Voss, been outstanding. Across to Lynch. Runs in from 50. Here's another one coming up. Merrett's got it. Big Rogers kicked 4-1.
Well, this will get them over a 100-point lead if he puts it through, and wouldn't that be only just? Big Roger kicks the goal that puts the Bears to the top of the ladder for the first time in history.
Well, you can see it's a very, very tough angle, and Darren Holmes is sitting just off the pace there, so in case he runs around, we might just see him in screen, number 19 for Fitzroy, so it'll make it difficult, but he's gone back a long way, Roger, so he's opened up the face, and I think he might just make a bit of a dash to the left here. Let's see if he does, or whether he fancies just straight at it. Straight at it for Roger. Ha!
No trouble. Goals to Roger Merrett in his 299th VFL/AFL game. Lappin out of the centre again. Kickers to Lepic, Wolf, Hart. Good hand pass. Lambert, what will he try from there? Off one step. Huge pack of players. And the ball rushed through for one behind. That came from the man on the ground.
Pushing the back of the
Boyd. Yeah, free kick it's going to be. So Boyd, the Fitzroy captain, well, he and his side absolutely under siege as the Bears have been lining up to try to kick goals here this afternoon. Chandler. (49 to 153). In fact, it's not Chandler, it's Ron Bottas. Fletcher out-bodied there. That was by Chandler. Sean Hart gets back to pick up the footy. Fletcher has it. Played another terrific game. Over the head of Merrett. Still the Bears come in numbers. Lappin. He can kick a goal. And he does. It's his third. 24-14 to 6-13. Of course, it's already the Bears' biggest win over Fitzroy. The Lions yet to win here at the Gabba. They've won twice in Queensland, but certainly not here at the Brisbane Cricket Ground. Their biggest win previously was 65 points. Well, they've absolutely blitzed that today, Kev.
Yes, and it's interesting to look at the goal-scoring power of Brisbane. They kicked 4 goals in the first quarter, 8 in the second, 7 goals in the third. They've also kicked 7 goals so far in this final term. Fitzroy's just managed 2 goals in the first 3 quarters, 2 apiece. And we're now just under 2.5 minutes to go in this game. And once more, it's all Brisbane coming forward. Roger the Dodger falls over, kicked off the ground by Hart. The ball's forced over for a boundary throw-in. Barker's been the main goal kicker for Fitzroy. He's booted 3 at centre-half forward. Singles to Bamford, Malloy and McGregor. 10 individual goal kickers for the Brisbane Bears. Lambert. That's possession number 30. Gets it back to Lappin. He's booted 3. Dent gets the ball. Gives it across to Chandler. Fitzroy, a sloppy kick down towards the centre square. Lynch gets there. Jared likes him. Kicks the ball back where Rogers sets himself in front. The back of the pack was Akamanis. Gave it across to Roger. Kick goal number 6. It's going to go through. No. Touched on the line and forced out.
Bears player down is Chapman.
Well, he looks like he's holding his right knee too. Which is
yes, he's on the right on the edge of the half-forward line there. And This is very
Not another
disappointing
knee.
because we're only down to the last 2 minutes, and this is a game that the Bears have been dominating, so to lose a player would be very, very upsetting. Paxman goes short to McGregor. Kicks down towards the half-forward line, but once again, to no advantage, and a boundary throw in.
I didn't see how that happened. I just was watching behind the play and had the glasses out there, and I saw him down, and then the trainers ran out. I didn't see how it happened.
Jared, what's the most important thing that the physio and the doctor can do for a person if, in fact, they've injured the knee or they think it's a knee problem?
Well, I think just to get them comfortable and get them off the ground, there's...
But obviously they're in a lot of pain. Do they give them anything for the pain, or is it the way that they can hold the leg or strap the leg?
Well, it's an interesting one, the pain with cruciate ligaments. If they're completely snapped, often you get a really bad burst of pain for a minute or two, and then no pain whatsoever because the ligament is in fact totally separated. And that's why you see often people with torn cruciate ligaments running off the ground. Now let's just hope that if it is a knee, it's perhaps a torn cartilage, which can block the knee. And if you do try to straighten it or bend it, you get excruciating pain. And that's why you won't see the physio straightening that if in fact it causes pain. And there you see that left knee locked in that position. But they won't know. And also the hamstrings. You can see the hamstrings already gone into spasm there. That big tendon at the bottom of the knee there, already pulling the leg. So it's difficult to know exactly what's happened here, of course, but the physios and the doctors will ask him, did he hear a pop or a snap or a crackle? If that's the case, that would indicate that maybe the cruciate's gone. If not, then it could be one of 100 things. So bad luck for Nathan Chapman, because obviously when you get carried off on a stretcher and your knee's in that position, you're in a bit of trouble.
Yes, well, we've just seen so many knee injuries this year, haven't we?
And here's a boy, Peter, that was terrific in his first year, went missing for a year, but then last year as the Bears got better, so too did he. And he has been terrific once again this season, and really I thought was just starting to come into his absolute best.
He's had back and hip problems before. So let's hope that that's only a minor injury. We live in hope, as I said, with too many of those knee injuries this year. Bears have never been on the top of the ladder before. They may be tonight. Hogg puts Fitzroy into attack. Ball will just clear 50. It's about as far as it's going. Lynch gives the hand pass away. Lambert. Free kick. Dion Scott.
What for?
It was a high tackle. It's going to be taken by Holmes. Collected him on the shoulder, I think.
Dion Scott copped it in the head.
Let's see what did how. I saw a blow high somewhere.
Let's just have a look. In comes Dion. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah. Correct.
Truly amazing, that one.
Holmes. Kicks to right half forward. Terrific mark taken out there by Fletcher. The Bears handling these greasy conditions absolutely superbly today. Mark by Voss earlier was fantastic. Lappin. He's been amongst the goals. Still he runs. One-on-one marking contest. None can bring it down. Boyd. Holmes. Lambert again. McAdam. Ball needs to sit for him. It does eventually. Will he have a shot at goal from 20 metres out? He does. But there's the siren. I think it's beaten him. Will that score be allowed? We'll have to wait on the goal umpire. It won't be. And so the Bears run out very easy winners here at the Gabba. Will it be enough to put them on top of the ladder? We'll have the calculators out now to work it out for you. But Brisbane tear away winners. Their biggest ever win over Fitzroy, scoring 24-14, 158 to 6-13-49. Let's go down to Dipper.
Thanks very much, Peter. Well, Adrian, a fantastic win. We think you're now on top of the ladder.
Oh, that's good. It's a bit early for the ladder to be decided, but week in, week out, we just got to keep doing the right things, and I think that'll show us through the rest of the year.
Now, you're expected to win the game today. Take us through the week. Was it sort of a hard training session?
Yeah, it was pretty solid. We didn't want to let off the button. We're training hard and keep doing the right things, and we'll win the game. But it's hard when you play a bit teams that are below you, so you just got to keep your head head each week.
Now, you've been around a little bit over the last couple of years, but you've certainly found your mark here, and your marking is sensational at the moment.
Yeah, that was a big point of my when I was in Tassie. I was a good mark, but when I got Geelong, I was told to stay on the ground a bit more, but now I've got a bit of both, so I'm just doing that sort of thing.
Well, thanks for joining us, and go and enjoy the big celebrations. Go on, Adrian.
Thanks, Dipper, and we can confirm that the Bears are on top of the ladder with a percentage in excess of 161. So a terrific performance here this afternoon, capped off by 5 goals by their veteran Roger Merrett, and the Bears to a standing ovation from the crowd here this afternoon. Not a sellout crowd as we have had earlier in the season, but in wet conditions against the bottom side, a pretty good crowd nonetheless. There's the second siren, so the young fans decide to invade the ground. They saw this afternoon a record-breaking win by Brisbane, and the Bears on top of the AFL ladder for the first time. So we'll take a break and we'll be back. And welcome back to the Gabba. The Brisbane Bears winning by a record margin, 109 points. Their previous best against Fitzroy was 65 back in 1991, but they absolutely blitzed the Lions after half-time, kicking 12 goals to 2.
The AFL Centenary Season, proudly brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors Australia, Qantas, the Australian airline, Foster's Lager, Mobil, Nike, and McDonald's.
It was a history-making day, Gerard. They came into the comp in 87 and now in 96 they're on top of the ladder.
Yes, well, you'd have to say it was a great day in the history of the Brisbane Bears, and well done to Roger Merrett for kicking that goal, who probably put them officially on top of the ladder for the first time in the history. It's ironic that they're doing it against Fitzroy, a club that was, I guess, mooted right back in the early stages of the development up here to come up to Brisbane, but it was knocked on the head, and only a decade later they do face a pretty torrid future where the Brisbane Bears are just going from strength to strength. In fact, it was a little bit disappointing that the Bears fell away, and they didn't kick another goal after the time when the umpire...
Fitzroy fell away.
Sorry, when Fitzroy fell away. After the time Roger Merrett got that free kick for an indiscretion, a verbal indiscretion by one of the players. That was a great goal by Chris Scott. He keeps getting better, the Norwich rising star of a couple of years ago.
Lepage is not bad either.
Well, hasn't he got great pace for a big fellow, and his skills are just getting better and better as he comes to terms with the tempo of the game. And we saw John Norley put him into defence in the last 5 minutes, probably just thinking ahead. They've got to go to Fremantle to play next week, and with his great pace, perhaps he can look after one of their tallish defenders, Peter Mann maybe, but Trent Bartlett also doing well. Sean Hart just he's been an inspiration up here. He's one of the players that didn't get a hell of a lot of credit when the Bears weren't a great side, but he, along with Fletcher, who's been doing these sort of performances for many years, but only just now getting the credit, have really been one of the mainstays, or a couple of mainstays, behind this performance.
Great effort there by Voss, first of all with the mark and then the kick. Sean Hart was in everything.
And have a look at this.
This is a great goal, isn't it?
Probably, well, I haven't seen too many better goals of the round. For a natural right footer, that is just incredible skills from Jason Ackermanis, who incidentally wants to be a comedian when he finishes football.
Nothing funny about that. It was a great kick. Now let's go down to the man who kicked 5 goals to gain his 299th game, 150th for the Bears. Dipper, you've got Roger Merrett.
I certainly have, Peter. First, congratulations on your 150th for the Bears, and you are on top of the ladder, and it's actually your goal which put them on top of the ladder.
Well, it's quite pleasing to hear, but it was just very important for us to win the game, and that's all we had our sights set on, and the players worked tremendously hard in those conditions. We don't get too many wet games up here, so I think it was a credit to the players the way they fought the game right out.
Now, you've been around for a long, long time, and the game today was expected to be won by the Bears. We spoke to Adrian Fletcher before. It was a pretty tense week on training-wise.
Yes, I suppose, I revert back to our Essendon days, and, Fitzroy's and the St Kildas used to always beat us quite regularly. So, the players were switched on. Our main thing was to get the 4 points and work tremendously hard, and we were switched on during the week, and it proved today in the game.
Now, Kevin Bartlett's a little bit worried about the way you're performing at the moment. The way you're going, you'll be playing 500 games. Now, is it rumoured that next week you are not going to play because you want to play against Hawthorn here the 300 game. Is that true or not?
Well, I'll reassess the week's training and see what happens.
Enough. Okay. Now, got some terrific players coming through. Of course, Voss and Lappin, and we mention these boys every week, but young Akamanis, who always comes on the ground and adds a bit of spark.
Look, you know, all the players are starting to mature well and play consistently, and that's what it's all about. As you know, Dippy, you've got to play week in, week out, and these players are starting to mature. They want to succeed, they have the hunger, and as each week goes by, they're improving week by week, and that's just tremendous.
And what are your thoughts about merging with Fitzroy?
I've got no thoughts on it at this stage. We're just concentrating on what we have to do is that's play football at this particular time.
Well, Roger, congratulations, and I hope you do play next week, but if you don't, we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time against the Hawks.
Okay, Deb,
good on you,
thanks so
Roger. That's small, Roger.
Yes, and that's the word that we have, that he will play his 300th against Hawthorn here at the Gabba, which would probably suit him better anyway. But Gerard, the stats, and, well, I guess it points out the 109-point difference in the sides.
Well, surprisingly, Fitzroy got their share of possessions. We saw them handball in the first half, and you have a look at other things like centre breaks. That's a statistic that usually indicates a dominance, and that was clearly what happened in the middle. They had probably the best 4 or 5 players on the ground before a Fitzroy player got a look in, although the likes of Boyd and Bamford were quite good across the centre, but their individual players also did very well.
All right, let's check your votes for Sports World, and not surprisingly, they all go to Brisbane players this afternoon.
Well, I do like a midfielder, Peter, of course, and
I wonder why.
Craig Lambert, I think, has been an exceptional player since coming to the Bears. This was a terrific game for him. He also plays very well against better opposition also. Michael Voss has had plenty of raps in the last couple of weeks, and all justified. And Adrian Fletcher, I think, is just a great player because you can rely on him week in, week out.
And probably apologies to about 4 or 5 others as well.
Including, I think Matthew Clark sets them off,
yeah.
But couldn't get the ruckman in, unfortunately.
Now, we're going to ask you to stay there. I want you to look away, because we're going to put the scores up now of the game at Waverley this afternoon between St Kilda and Footscray. Many stations taking a replay shortly, so the scores coming up now on screen. And a match here, well, it's been an historic day, hasn't it? The Bears on top of the ladder for the first time. We'll take a break. Back in a moment. Let's check the AFL ladder as it stands now after the completion of round 5. An historic day in the history of the Brisbane Football Club, because the Bears have shot to the top of the ladder by virtue of their 109-point win here this afternoon over Fitzroy. In fact, one of 5 teams with 4 wins so far. Brisbane on top of the ladder from percentage to the Adelaide Crows, beaten for the first time this weekend to North Melbourne, also with 4 wins from Geelong. Narrow winners yesterday over Richmond, and also Carlton, who also squeaked in by 1 point over the West Coast Eagles at Optus Oval. And then follows Collingwood, the Magpies on percentage from Fremantle and Sydney. And of course, as we go down the bottom of the ladder to Fitzroy, with a percentage of only 55 yet to record a win. Let's go to round 6.